20-year-olds are so judgy,
Yo,
especially on
Gen
social
Z
media.
Effing hate parents. Gen Z are just
think
evil.
they know how to parent as well. They're like, well, why don't you just do this? And why don't you do that? I'm like, I cannot wait for you to be a parent.
Did you get woken up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., then 5 a.m., and then 5:30 a.m.?
We haven't gone to sleep.
Shh, don't tell mum. Hello and welcome to Shh Don't Tell Mum. My name's Barney.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is the 4th most listened to parenting podcast in.
4th, 11th.
It's 4th.
You said 11th.
It's 4th.
Why did you say 11th?
You didn't listen to me properly. I said it was 4th. I said it was 11th, then I changed it to 4th because it was 11th in kids and family and 4th in parenting.
Woohoo! Philippines, baby.
Philippines.
How are we all doing today? I was going to say we're 11th because of that atrocious episode we did last week. Atrocious.
Mate, you've got to stop digging me out for this episode. This is not fair. That episode was fun, engaging. We had original things to talk about. We had a laugh. You were just being a sourpuss because of your finger. How is your finger now?
It's still got a plaster on it.
Oh, nice.
Don't you like how it's the middle finger, guys?
I know, it's convenient, isn't it? It's a convenient finger to injure that you can be like, excuse me, somebody help me.
It's sore. Honestly, yeah. It's because the whole nail bed is going to take 2.5 weeks to fix.
Damn, so it's still sore now. I can't even believe it. What's new with Rocket, my friend?
So I picked him up from school yesterday and they said that he's doing really, really well in music. Every time they do anything music related, he's the first up, the first sing the songs, claps in rhythm, which is really good. But he's also started doing art.
He has.
So I brought a piece of art home and Barney had to guess what it is. He had 3 guesses and he didn't get one of them right. So,
mate, okay, so should I tell the guesses? So my guesses yesterday when Jamie was like, right, so you have to guess what you think this image is.
Oh, we should have brought it in, like a show and tell.
My first guess was a dog. It looked like it had a nose and legs, and that was a no. Then I guessed it was a tree, and it was a no, because it looked like the orange bits could have been like autumnal leaves. And then my third guess was, oh God, I can't remember what I said, like a log or like a smudge. It literally looks like a brown smudge. Nappy. Or the inside of his nappy. Yeah, because it's just a brown smudge with bits on it. That's what it was. I was like, oh, it literally could be the inside of his nappy. And what was it?
It was a bird.
It was a bird.
Without eyes, because apparently he didn't want to add the eyes. He just walked away and was not interested in adding eyes.
So
and when they were like, let's add eyes.
His key worker must have been like, do you want to add eyes? And he's like, no.
Yeah. But he goes, when he says yeah, he goes, yeah, huh? Every time. Yeah, huh? I was like, do you want a Kordeshi? Yeah, huh?
What's a Kordeshi, babe?
Chocolate. We found ourselves now saying, but do you have any Kordeshis in the fridge?
Yeah, Kordeshi's now the word.
It's going to be the word.
It is the word in the house.
It's implemented in the word. Like, for instance, sauce. Sauce is sausage for our dog. But we just call everyone sauce now, don't we? That we love. Like,
someone explained this the other day. I saw someone put this on social media that they said that she said something like, tell me in the comment section what your nickname for your dog is right at this moment, and then tell me what the developing idea was behind it. And she said it was something like, we used to call him, it's something that's along the same lines. It's like we used to call him Snacky, then we called him Snack, then we called him Snat, and then we just call him Sa. So we just go Sa across the road. Ours is similar. We call him Sausage, then that became Sauce, then you call him Sausage.
Sausage.
You call him Sausage.
No, Sausage. Sausage. Yeah, because Jamie.
It's not because of Jamie. It's literally because you're trying to say it in like a French way.
Sausage.
Liar.
Like my name. He went to me the other day. He was like, woke up this morning. No, it wasn't the other day. It was this morning. And he was like, Jamie, Lisa. And I was like, excuse me? You're saying my surname so... Because guys, we're not married, if you haven't guessed already. And so I'm not a Banks. So he always... And I think he took the piss out of my name, which is really mean. I don't take the piss out of your name.
This is a solid name because you can trace the name back. Anyone's name in the UK, you can trace back to a function or a job that they had. So what is my name? Butcher used to work in butchers. Banks used to work in banks.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Smith.
Jackman then. What did Jackman do? That's my surname.
I don't know. It's French. So it's probably something to do with French. Something that you did in France.
Well, the French followers slide into our DMs and let us know what Jackman means.
Invitation to slide into Jamie's DMs. Okay, all right. It's spicy.
But that's the thing with the name thing. I made him watch this really good one really good movie called The Book Club Chapter.
God.
The end chapter.
Oh my
God. The last chapter.
It is the biggest pile of turds
it's so
I've ever seen.
And there's a bit at the end.
it's like Sex and the City meets Mamma Mia.
Okay,
but
wait.
then is just like
There's no
smushed into this positive
There's no
poo-pants.
music. No one's singing. Jane Fonda is in it. She's 89 years old when she shot this. How mad is that? And she looks absolutely fabulous.
She does look good for
and
her
she
age.
is the bride in this. And she basically, they're talking about how she's never wanted to get married. And then finally she decides to get married for the first time. She's 89 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, that is literally going to be me.
The
That's gonna be
point
me.
of us bringing up the story about Rocket's drawings, by the way, was to say, at what point, we're asking you guys a question, so make sure you email us in your answers at itsthebankses@gmail.com. That's itsthebanks with 2 S's at gmail.com. So our question to you is, at what point do you start saving the artwork that your kids do at school? Because we're still receiving things from Rocket and from school where it's just like a smudge on a piece of paper or like a bit of cotton wool that's been glued to a piece of paper. And I'm not going to lie, they end up in the bin.
No, but
So,
we
what
did
do we
save
do?
the candlestick he made for us.
Oh yeah, that's proper
Candle
though. That was
holder.
good. It's like a little
Candle holder.
tea light holder,
Yeah.
like a little circular one.
He
But it's
probably
like
just went, but knowing him, he has no attention span. He probably went, and then he was like, Kardashian?
Has anyone got a snack for me, please?
Yeah.
So that was the question. So if you could answer that, we'd love to hear from you because we'd like to see if we're doing the wrong thing. Like, should we keep everything? But then it would just clog up our drawers and our cupboards with pieces of paper with smudges
I
on it.
think
Do you know what I mean?
should keep like the stuff. I think we'll keep the smudge, the first one, because that was quite cute.
Okay.
I think we'll keep that. I think it's all dependent on the situation, what you keep and what you don't keep. The fact that she was like, she made such a point that he didn't add eyes. She was like, he didn't want to add eyes. He literally was like, no to the eyes. And I thought that was quite funny because
And it's a bird.
I can tell
With
him that
no
story
eyes.
when he's older. Like, I think if it has a story, if it's just like, oh,
Good
we made
idea.
this today and then off he goes, then there's nothing nice memory there, but we came home and we all had to guess and we can do it when he's older and be like, Rocket, what did you make? What was this? Kind of like the artwork.
I
It's
like
quite
that.
cute.
Yeah, if it's got a story attached to it, then we should keep it. Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
So a few days ago, me and you were chatting.
Yeah.
We were talking about like dating. We were talking about like our dates. Some of our friends were asking us questions about, what were the dates that you went on back in the day? What were your favorite dates as a couple? And so I thought that I would go on the good old Reddit because I actually never go on it and I always hear people talking about it. And I thought, let's have a look and see if we can find some fun dating stories. Would you like to
Wow.
hear some horror dates from some people that they've had before? And maybe you can compare them with maybe potentially something that you've had, or we could ask the people to write in any horrible dates they've
Yeah,
had.
I'd love that. Let's give it a go.
So I want some advice from you for this person.
Okay.
So, story time. Weirdest dating situation I've ever had. So, I was chatting with this dude a while ago, and we agreed on a hookup. He seemed handsome enough, although a bit needy and horny. So far, so good. When he arrived, he immediately started pleasuring himself off and was done on the spot after he finished.
Well, as he greeted her.
So literally turned up to her flat, started touching himself, finished, and then left.
What?
She said, I did absolutely nothing. The whole situation lasted for about 5 minutes, and even my cat was completely baffled. And I may add, he'd driven for over an hour to get there just for that. That is her first date story with this guy from Tinder.
He's a serial killer.
Do you know what I mean?
This
Like,
is
that
why I never dated anyone on Tinder. Sorry, Tinder, but I always thought this is
They're
how I'm going to die.
devastated.
This is how I'm going to die. I feel like we are at an age where we are social, we can go to bars. Why do we have to be on dating apps? I don't agree with them at all because I'm like, cute meets, go out and socialize. We've lost the way of socializing because we're always head down looking at our phone. And then we end up in a relationship and we're head down in our phones. Again, we say good night to each other. We check our phones the first time before we even say good morning to each other. It's so freaking sad. And then we meet people now on our phones and then start dating them from our phones. It's just really bizarre we're at that stage. I feel like, is it because I'm like in between the age of like when dating apps kind of started and...
Yeah, I feel like it probably is. And also the fact that you have a unique perspective or like a different
Cute
perspective
meet.
because you...
Oh, we met
haven't
on a dating website. That's not like fairy tale.
But it's also because you haven't really had to explore that and navigate that So you haven't been on dating apps. You don't do it.
I
Whereas
was
other
on a
people-
dating app, and every time I was like, I'm meeting weirdos.
Yeah, of
Sorry,
course you
I'd
are.
rather make the judgment face to face at a club, thank you
Yeah.
very much, or at a bar, or at a restaurant, or walking down the road. How did we meet? We met at an event. You know, how did I meet the person before you? I met him at the gym. How did I meet the person before that? I met him
find
at
him.
work. You know what I mean? I don't think it's always giving me the creepy crawlies, and then you meet people like that and you read stories like that from dating websites. I mean, to be honest, I think dating websites are great for the older generation. My mum met her partner, her husband, through a dating website.
Yeah, I think
'Cause she
people are
didn't
mature
wanna
enough to
go-
use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't want to go to a bar and like mingle. She wanted to actually get out there and write what she wanted down. But I think for our age, go out and socialize.
Yeah, I feel like 35 and younger use dating apps just to get laid. They don't actually use it to meet someone.
But
I think
also-
90% of people are just using a dating app just for a quick fix.
Devil's advocate here as
on.
well. I have a lot of friends who don't even have time to do that. So their only time is to be on their phone after, because they finish at the office, they go home, they cook dinner, and then they go to bed and do it again. When I worked
Yeah.
in property, I was working Monday. I had to be at the office on my desk by 8 a.m. and we would be finishing at 7 p.m. I had no time because I'd have to get home, take an hour to get home, I'd eat dinner and go straight to sleep because I'd have to be up at 5 to get to the office for 8. As in, even if I wanted to squeeze in a workout, and that was Monday to Saturdays. So the only day I had was Sundays. So where are you going to find the time to date during that
Yeah.
time or see your friends?
So then it's just easier and faster and cheaper to go on
A dating
Tinder.
website. So I understand why they're there, don't get me wrong, but if you have the opportunity, and anyway, I think the workforce has changed. I don't think that's a healthy amount of working. I feel like 4 days a week is probably...
Yeah, aren't they testing that at the
Yeah,
moment?
they're testing it, and
Like
I think that's-
55 companies at the moment in central London are testing a 4-day work week.
And I think that's so much healthier because they will do better work in the short term. Otherwise, you burn out. And
Big
I
time.
100% burnt out when I was doing the 6 days a week thing. And I remember crying to my boss, being like, this is not what life's about. You want me to have immaculate nails and my hair done. How do you expect me to do that when all
I
the
don't
shops are
have
closed
time.
on Sundays?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So what you said earlier, oh my God, that guy sounds like a serial killer. Wait for this next one. So my friend was talking to a guy for a few days, went on 4 dates, no sex. My friend said that the next date was a movie at her house, and so she was looking for some action. The next date, they watched the full movie, and the guy stared at the screen with wide open eyes, no physical contact at all. My friend got kind of annoyed, and when the film ended, she told the guy to go, and he refused, and said that he wanted to see another movie. My friend said no, and he insisted, and he said he's not going anywhere. So he just wanted to see another movie. She went to the bathroom and locked herself in and called the police. He tried to lure her out, saying sorry, and told her that he would leave. When the police arrived, the guy had got all the knives out in the house and spread them from smallest to biggest on the table, and he laid towels on the floor. How nuts is that?
Thank God she had her phone.
Thank God she took her phone and went to the
Did they
toilet.
find out he
knocked
was
it.
an actual serial killer?
No, I don't know. But
Was there an
that's
after
just-
story? Was there any comments to
No,
that?
I mean, there's so many comments of people just going like, "You're holy shit, you're an idiot." I don't know why you're an idiot.
Why are you an idiot?
That's not the action she had in mind. Good thing he couldn't get to the poop knife she could use for self-defense.
Oop, no.
What? What's a poop knife? Some people, this is Reddit for you. This is Reddit for you.
Wow.
Poop knives all around. So yeah, imagine that. Like you could, by going on a social media app that's like, you know, created for dating, you are essentially rolling the dice every time because you don't know them.
Have you ever been in a situation where you felt uneasy and you thought that guy, or sorry, not that guy, but like that girl made you have the creeps a little bit?
Not really. I haven't really had like the creeps from people.
Because you've always been in like long-term relationships, really, haven't you? You haven't really
I
dated.
guess the only thing that I did have one time was just I found out that someone that I was dating at the time had wrongfully accused someone of doing like of being like abusive, and that guy ended up going to jail, and every other person that knew her as well and knew him said that he never did anything, and it was
he went
because
to
he tried
prison.
to break up with her. He's basically said that he tried to break up with her. She then went to the police and said that he had like abused her, and then he got arrested.
Did you call that gaslighting?
I don't know if it's gaslighting. It's more just like
Manipulative?
bad reaction. She just reacted badly and was like, and wanted to hurt him because she felt hurt. So as soon as I found that out, I was like, I have to get out of this situation. So then I just had to, pull the plug. But yeah, I'd say that was the only thing. Have you, I mean, more importantly for you, your side, have you ever felt like unsafe around someone and gone, see you later? You said that one guy did get aggressive with a cyclist.
Yeah, it was like a car or something that like ran in front of him. Yeah, and then that freaked me out. Yeah, but I mean, try to think if there's anybody that's ever given me the creeps.
Like weird, like something's told you something about them, like I don't think I should go on this date, or I think I need to figure out a way of getting out of this date because they're just behaving a little bit odd, like suspect.
Okay, so I do have a story, but this was with a boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't want to like have a sex story about
It's not a sex story. But I remember watching, it was so weird. I'd already had so many warning signs.
I think I know what this is. And
I had friends messaging me and calling me and be like, are you sure you want to date this guy? Ooh. Because he seemed really, really nice. But they said he was a serial liar.
Oh.
Serial liar. And I was like, okay, weird. So I had a few warning signs from a few people. And then I was just like, you know what? People can change. I always believe that people can change. And I remember watching a documentary. There was obviously all these signs with him anyway, but I remember watching this documentary about a serial killer. And this guy had very similar traits to this other guy.
Yo.
And I friggin' freaked out. And I was like, you have to leave. And I turned into a bit of a freak because I was like,
so you properly flapped it and you were like, ah!
I was like
wigged out.
I feel like
Were you watching the documentary with him? So you were sat next to him and you identified a load of the same traits that the serial killer had in the documentary to your boyfriend at the time, and you were like, get out.
And I was like, you have to get out. And he was like, why? I was like, you're really giving me the creeps. Like, it's just not okay.
Yo.
Anyway, we continued dating because I was like, Jimmy, you're being ridiculous. You need to get over this. And there was one time where we had this massive argument and he said I'd driven over his foot when I tried to escape, get in the car and run away. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I've driven over your foot. I was like, get in the car. We're going to the hospital because I might have actually injured his poor foot.
Broken his foot or something, yeah.
So we get to the hospital and he won't get out of the car. And he's like, no, it's fine. Anyway, he tackles the car keys and bends the car key. So I can't get the car key into this is years ago when you had keys. And I couldn't get the key back into the car. And I remember we were at the hospital when he did this.
And he bent the key.
And he bent the key because I was going, come on, we need to go. And he was like, no, we're not going anywhere. So he grabbed the key off my hand. Anyway, I remember I called my dad being like, he's bent the key. He's losing his shit. He says I've run over his foot. I don't think I have because he's not getting out of the car. Surely if I've run over the guy's foot, he'd
want to go and get it seen by a medical professional.
Getting it seen. But getting it seen by a professional would say, no, he didn't. He lied to you.
There's nothing wrong with your foot.
Yeah. Anyway, next day he was walking fine. Everything was fine. If I'd ran over his foot, I would have smashed his bones into pieces. Like, what do you...
Probably,
You're manipulating me like this. And then I start working out. He's always like available when I want to see him. And he's never really working. And then so we go on this holiday and I find these forged signatures on his desktop. And he's basically saying that his manager has basically given him a raise and he works for this big corporation. And I'm not going to say the name because I don't want people to start digging and stuff or call him out. But I got my dad to call the offices, the London offices, pretending to be PayPal and say, we have a delivery for you. And then he said, oh, I didn't tell you, but...
It's for this person.
Yeah, I was made redundant today. Of all days.
Wait, hold on.
What they do is...
Hold on. Your dad called pretending to be PayPal and they said, no one by that name works here.
Yeah.
So then you knew he didn't work there. So then you said to the guy, you said to him, well, this is BS. And then he told you he'd just been fired.
Yeah. Well, bearing in mind, at this point in time, I was going to confront him in front of his mother because I knew he'd be speaking shite.
And he'd been lying to his mum as well.
And he'd been lying to his mum and his dad. So I remember...
The plot thickens.
Yeah, I was running to get to his house before he got to the house. So I basically lied to him and said, yeah, come pick me up at the station. I got off a stop early to then run to his house to get to his mum's beforehand. Anyway, he catches me
then
down the road
Tom
as I'm
Cruise
like
came out of
running
nowhere.
down his road, and I'm calling his mum and I'm like, you have to come out, because I was scared for my life anyway. I didn't know what he was going to
for
do
your
if I
life.
this whole time, this company was like, there's never been a guy under this name working there.
So you're like, he's lying to me this whole time. What else is he lying about?
Anyway, he turns around and he goes, I'm so sorry. This is what happens when they make you redundant. They'll say that you've never worked there. And I was like, no, because you wouldn't have LinkedIn if that was the frigging case.
Yeah.
Mate, come on, let's be honest. And then he's looking at me like, I will tell you later. I can't say this in front of my mother. Anyway, get him alone. And I'm like, you better tell me what I need to see like a P45 or something to prove that you're working. And then he says, I can't tell you because your life is at risk because I work for the MI5.
I work for MI5.
So he goes, your life is at risk if I tell you I work for the MI5. I'm like,
So you just told me.
you just told me. And you work for the
Can't tell you because then
MI5.
I'd have to kill you.
He never worked. He didn't even have a job,
God,
mate.
It's so weird.
But he'd have Rolex watches and wear really nice suits and drive a nice car. So God knows what he ever did. He never had cash on him. So
he just
I don't think he was
through the roof and it's like, get down.
Yeah. What the hell? So, I mean, that was the only point in my dating history where I thought, and I never figured out what he did. I never, ever figured it out.
Mad.
And all my friends who'd warned me before, they were like, told you so. And I was like, yeah.
Sometimes you just don't see it though when you're in it and you're emotionally involved. Sometimes it's really difficult to actually look past certain things, or maybe your friends are telling you certain things about someone, but you just don't see it because you're in that emotional involvement. So that makes it really hard. I'm sure that a lot of people, that is gaslighting, by the way. That's gaslighting.
Oh, absolutely.
He was gaslighting you big time, like to make you believe that you were crazy or you didn't know what you were talking about.
And I
that's
managed to get
gaslighting.
away from it because he hacked my Facebook and looked at messages, and he saw that me and this guy years beforehand had a kiss. He's my mate. I'm friends with so many mates that I've kissed in the past. Guys, I'm old. I'm 35. Like, I used to kiss for fun. Like, this is hey. And he was like, you kissed your mate. You never told me that. That's so disrespectful. I'm breaking up with you. And that's how I got out of the relationship. And I was like, oh, finally. Because he was so obsessive.
Yeah,
I'd
scary.
turn up home and he'd be standing there, and like some weird situations he put himself in. And
You've had some odd ones. And the funny thing is, whenever we watch a documentary that involves some like weird, like sort of like relationship abuse and stuff like that, I see Jamie like looking at me and I'm like, you're imagining that this is me, aren't you?
No, I would never.
And she's like, no, but like, I just can't believe it. Imagine you did that. And I'm like, I would never do that. What are you talking about?
Women seem to be, like, all my friends were obsessed with like true crime stuff.
I think that, that is the thing that Netflix released some information about their like analytics on their website or on their app. And they said that the most highly rated category in the app is true crime documentaries.
Really?
Yeah, so I think they're going to pump so much money into doing more.
Speaking of that, we watched a Netflix documentary about a woman that is kidnapped and her husband, her boyfriend
it's called
at the time.
American Nightmare.
Yeah, guys, it is so ridiculous.
It's
were in
the
hysterics.
biggest amount of horseshit I've ever seen. I think that she's lying.
No, she's not lying.
I think she's lying.
No, because you know what happens in the end.
Well, yeah, but don't spoil it for people. But there is like a kidnapping scenario and
but
a
it's
couple.
so unbelievable.
It's so mental.
And the way she not performs it, but delivers the information.
That's what's unbelievable. That's what's not believable to me. The way that she delivers the story of how it happened and what happened. I'm like, you are acting. You are acting.
He's a kind. There are
Jesus,
types.
all right.
I'm sorry, that's him though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I have one more dating story for you.
Okay, hit me.
This one gets a bit spicy, everyone. So this is your NSFW announcement, whatever you want to call it. Right. I went on a date with a guy from college. And I should have left halfway through because he told me that I look like a librarian in my cardigan, but I ended up going back to his place.
That's something you would do. You would definitely do that.
I'm so sorry. But I ended up going back to his place. And that is where the insanity started. He and I started doing shots of tequila for absolutely no reason. And I'm starting to get way too drunk. So drunk that I end up throwing up in his bathroom. And when I come out of the bathroom, he starts kissing me. We end up hooking up, and this man starts to go full weirdo. He uses Jergens hand lotion, which I imagine is just some common hand lotion in America, as lube. and then said that he had to go and get something. And he came back with a dildo-shaped ice cube and shoved it up my ass.
It was an ice cube, like an actual ice cube.
An actual ice cube in the shape of a dildo. And he stuck it up my ass while we hooked up. And then to top it off, he bit my nipple in half. Keeping in mind that this was the worst sex I'd ever had, I woke up the next morning, hungover, and immediately left to go to my friend's house. He then had the audacity to find me at work and said that he had the best time ever, and he told me to stay chilly. Stay chilly is like the best thing I've ever heard in my life. Stay chilly. After sticking an ice cube up her ass.
It would have melted as you stuck it up there really fast, because surely you're really hot up there.
I told him to never speak to me again. And the whole comment section is just stay chilly with laughing faces.
Yeah, but he bit off her nipple.
Stay chilly. That's just so good.
No. He bit off her nipple.
The thing is that when she says the following morning I woke up and went to my friend's house, I think the first thing she would have said normally would have been, I woke up the next morning and my nipple's on fire.
No, but he bit her nipple off. That means she would have had to...
apparently. That means like you've bitten a bit of it off. Surely that would be like, take me to hospital. You just like chewed off some of my nerve
you'd
endings.
have to, surely. It's like, imagine your willy being chopped off.
I don't know if that's the same.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's still a genital.
The same.
Your nipples are your genitals for women as well.
I don't think they are, babe.
It's part of your...
I don't think your nipple is a genital.
For women, it is.
I don't think it is. I have a nipple.
Yeah, I know. Because
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk
everybody
me?
Starts as a woman.
What's that from? You don't know what film that's from, do you?
Guys, can we look? Luke, can you look that up?
Oh, what are we looking up?
Is nipples genitals?
Is a nipple a genital? I'm saying no, Jamie's saying yes. Here we go. And whoever gets it right gets to choose the next topic of conversation. Not a nipple. A nipple is not a genital. I get to choose. Right, I saw something on the news this morning, by the way, this very morning.
Oh, please be positive.
Is that? Well, you have to decide if this is positive or negative, because this is open for discussion. And we'll head over to production as well. They can make a decision.
Okay.
They are considering adult-only sections of aeroplanes. Agree or disagree?
What, for sex?
Oh my good God.
You mean like adult only? It's not adult only. It's like adult
only sections of, so you can't have kids on certain seats on planes.
I understand that.
Well, you just asked me if it was about sex, so you do not understand, actually, Jamie. So what I'm explaining is, let's say the first 30 seats, first 30 rows are adult only, and then from 31 to 50, you can have kids. That's basically what it's saying.
I think, to be honest, I think that should be the case regardless in business, because business is business for a reason.
Business class is different. Yeah,
so
I believe that's different.
Business should be no kids in business, because unfortunately, people are there to do business. That's why they call it business class, right? That's where it came from.
So, yeah.
It stemmed from that. You have business class and then you have first class. First class is different. You can have families in first class. Yeah. Business is business.
I feel like having kids anywhere on a flight, okay? So let's say the rule isn't put in place. I feel like having kids like spread out kind of has less of an impact, because obviously everyone knows that when a child starts crying or screaming, it does set off other kids. Mm-hmm. Like if they hear it, it sometimes panics kids and they start screaming, or sometimes they're just copying, right? If you had a concentrated area on a plane of 7 kids all within a couple of rows of each other, and one starts crying, that entire section of the plane is going to go up in smoke, because they're all just going to be crying for however long. I feel
they
like...
say it at nursery, don't they? When one cries,
yeah, when one cries, all the others cry. So
yeah.
I feel like actually, if you did have adult only, it would probably get impacted more unless you're way, way far away, because... you'll have a giant cluster of kids crying.
That section as well?
No, I don't think so. But I think it's more just like, you know, people complain about being around kids on planes, and I get it. But also at the same time, it's just, it is what it is. Just deal with it. Put headphones on.
Well, we had a situation when we went to Bali, and Rocket just lost his shit for the first 20 minutes
but he
before
lost
the
his
flight
shit 'cause he didn't want to lie on his back.
Well, he was so tiny, and it was really late. It was past his bedtime, so he was probably overtired. There's loads of reasons. I just think you have to be...
Rocket sleeps on his front as well, and they gave us like a crib or a cot thing that he had to sleep on his back. He wasn't allowed to be on his front.
But this is why sound cancelling headphones are the best thing in the world. Like, honestly, I bought myself some
Bose, didn't you?
Sound... and I love
You
them.
were going to get the Apple ones, but they're 500 quid, right?
And they're massive. And I've got such a tiny head.
You do have a little head.
I do. So I got the Bose ones, which are slightly smaller, and they're actually really good. The only thing I will say about them is I can't hear the difference between it being like they have two different sections. They have quiet mode and they have there's another one, absorption mode.
Okay.
They sound exactly the same. I can't hear.
So
feel the
are
difference.
you for or against this? If an airplane company, if they implemented this, are you for or against?
I honestly think they should make business class business only.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not the topic of conversation. Economy, should there be
this.
adult section and kids section, or should be
I'm against.
all mixed?
I'm against.
Luke, what are you saying?
Selfishly,
Selfishly?
I would say 4.
You'd say
just
4.
because I know that I would choose the front.
Yeah, of
To
course.
just stay away from the kids.
Yeah, of course.
But also at the same time, like your point with them being next to each other, as a parent, like
Yeah.
I don't want my kid to be like, why are they screaming?
Yeah, as a parent, you would understand that, having multiple kids in the same vicinity is probably detrimental to you personally. I mean, it's weird because I'm kind of torn. I think that having kids spread out is also better for the workers on the plane as well, for the stewards and stewardesses. I feel like it's actually better for them having a bit of a split. Imagine being a stewardess and your area at the back is where all the kids are and you're just getting shouted at by parents the whole time because all the kids are setting each other off. Like, I feel like it makes more sense business-wise to have kids spread out amongst it so they kind of share the load.
But that's why they
look at it from multiple perspectives. If you're listening or watching this at home, make sure you send us an email. It's
But you know, when they do a new build, they always have to legally put a council flat next to, because it spreads out people. It doesn't put like
it doesn't concentrate wealth in an area. Yeah,
exactly. So I think if it's the same with like children on planes, you know, it will all one triggers another, which will trigger another. So I feel like if they're all in one place, I get the whole family thing, but I feel like it's not needed. That's why I think they should implement business for business only.
Yeah,
because it's annoying for me. Like, I'll fly business for business, but you can't really do your business when you've got a screaming baby next to you.
So business class should be for business. For businessmen and women,
business
that are
purposes.
traveling.
But then you have whole families and business, and you're like, how are they doing business?
But I feel like first class could just be for anyone, be for wealthy. So if you've got kids and you want to pay for them to go on first class, but imagine you pay 10 grand to go on a first class ticket to X and you're sat next to a 3-year-old that's screaming. How pissed would you be? You probably can't hear them as well because obviously you've got those barriers up. You know, you're in a little cocoon of sound.
But they'll probably just give them brownies and orange juice to shut them up, the stewardesses.
Give them sugar
and then
sugar
loads
to
of
run
toys
around.
and be like, here's a toy, imagine what they have.
Just having some parents who just didn't give a shit, like near you in first class, and their kids just running rampant.
Me and
they
you were there when
like,
Rocket was
whatever.
crying, and we were like, shut up. Especially you, because you get so nervous.
I don't get nervous. I just don't like, ruining other people's day. I'm quite conscious of other people.
You're definitely more considerate than I am. I'm like, he's crying.
100%.
And what? What can I do?
Jamie's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Well, there's something you can really do. Like, I'm not him. I'm not my baby. So I'll do everything in my power to try and stop him, but I'm not going to freak out and be like, you know what I mean?
No, I don't freak out, but I guess I'm just a bit more like on top of it. Jamie's like, he's a baby, he cries. And I'm like, yeah, but other people are getting annoyed. So yeah, I see both sides of it. I should be more deal with it. I'm a parent. And other people, I mean, my brother's had the worst of it. My brother was flying from Orlando to the UK and his son, in particular, my nephew, was at that age where he just didn't want to sit still. I totally get it. Like, he was between 2 and 3, I think, and it was middle of COVID. And you had to stay in your seat and you had to wear a mask. And you're trying to tell a 2.5-year-old to wear a mask and stay in their seat. It is not feasible. So I think eventually my brother just lost it at a passenger who kept tutting and telling him off and getting aggro. And my brother was like, tut at me one more time. I swear to God. Like, he is 2.5. He doesn't want to sit still. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to strap him to the chair? Shut up in this person's face. And they were like, okay.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he lost his shit at someone on the plane.
What did they do?
No, I mean, it's just like, imagine.
We need to get Ollie on the podcast.
You've got some not psycho kid, but some like kid who's got all this energy and, it's like 9-hour flight. Like, what are you going to do?
Oh, I'd love love to get your brother on the podcast. I think he'd be a really good guest because he has a
God.
really cool job as well.
He does have a cool job.
He does have a cool job, but then he also like
never in
travels
the
the world.
country.
He's in Florida. He raises his children in America, but he's British, and the kids are British. I just think it has a really cool story, and like how does he adapt to that from like having a complete where all your friends are in the UK? How do you adapt to parenting when you live in a completely different place and you're not really?
Yeah, I think and they both have very like hyper intense jobs as well. Him and his wife. And yeah, I mean, it's now that if people are listening or watching this, they're like, "What the hell are they talking about?" My brother works for Live Golf, which is a golf company like the PGA Tour. He's on that, and his wife is a presenter, TV presenter in golf. So it's quite cool.
The NBC.
The NBC.
So we need to get them on the podcast at some point when they're down. We're going to book that in.
What I haven't realised this whole time until I've just had a cheeky, 360 of you or whatever you want to call it, and up and down. This is very welcome to the island. I like it. Welcome to the island.
That's like the start of that
He's
girl's
wearing all
article.
white.
He first slated me saying I looked like a... What was the
Look
thing?
like a librarian because she's
Look
wearing
like
a
a
cardigan.
librarian. This is very welcome to the island.
Welcome to the island.
Do you want
My
to say
name is
something
Jamie.
nice to me today? Because last
You look
episode you didn't do very
lovely.
nice
You always
either.
do. I said you have a very cool outfit on today earlier. I did. But you've you just look like you're welcome to the island. It's a sexy look. You know what? Welcome to the island. That is Scarlett Johansson, and that's the hottest she's ever looked, I think, in that film. She's fit, right? Talk to
I
me.
don't think I'd look like Scarlett Johansson, but thank you so much. I really appreciate your comments.
It's all right.
So what are you excited for? We're going to Disney
Yes, we are.
for
February.
Rocket's birthday.
End of Feb.
Yeah.
Very
this
excited.
This is airing end of Feb.
This should be airing end of Feb, yeah. So we would have, I think, maybe just gone to Disneyland, and so there'll be a little cheeky update from us when
And
we
we'll
next
do
come
a
in.
YouTube video of the trip there in our... we've got a car
We've been
for
given
it.
a car, funnily enough, to drive to Disneyland, and we're
is
going to
pretty
feature
cool.
it in like a YouTube video of ours. It's going to be really fun.
Road
We're going
trip.
to vlog the road trip there and back, and while we're there. Disneyland is one of those places that, I don't know, I think it has the possibility of being very hit and miss. Like you could have a great time, or you could be like, oh my God, it's so busy and it's cold and miserable and I don't want to be
Well, we
here.
are with an
So,
experienced person, aka
are.
my father.
Jamie's dad.
He's obsessed with Disney, so I feel like we will know where to go, what to do. Rocket knows what Minnie and Mickey are now. I'm glad we're going now than we were because we were going to go in December, but we had to change the dates for work.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm just kind of like pleased that we're going when he's this age, but he's still really, really hard. Like if he doesn't want to do something, he'll throw himself on the floor and have a proper tantrum. Yesterday, went on the dog walk, not yesterday, day before yesterday, and he had 3 temper tantrums on the dog walk, rolled in the mud, and I just had to just like deal with it. And people look at you just like, oh. And it's normally 20-year-olds. 20-year-olds are so judgy, especially on
Gen
social
Z
media.
Effing hate parents. Gen Z
They
are just
think
evil.
they know how to parent as well. They're like, well, why don't you just do this? And why
Yeah.
don't you do that? I'm like, oh,
I'm
I
sorry,
cannot wait for you to be a
16-year-old.
parent.
Did you get woken up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., then 5 a.m., and then 5:30 a.m.?
We haven't
Did
gone
you?
to sleep. Even though our child sleeps really well, we have woken up every single day before 6 a.m. since the day he was born.
So it's 2 years. Try that, Gen Z. Yeah, exactly. I'm complaining now as a millennial. Am I a millennial? I don't really know. What am I?
Did get a slate on it when he was having temper tantrum, being like, and you just ignore him. And it
yeah,
causes
we
bad
said
behavior.
that we just ignore him. No. You got slated for saying bad wall.
That was another thing.
He
That was
knocked
another
his
one.
head on the wall when he fell over. So we went, bad wall, and we slapped the wall. And they were like, he's now not going to take any consequences for his actions. And we were like, shut up, Karen.
It was
Sorry.
man as well.
Shut up, Caronius. There you go.
Kevin.
Kevin the Karen. There you go.
Kevin is Karen.
Kevin the Carrot.
Yeah.
I think we've run out of things to say.
We're tired. I'm
Foot high
tired
five?
because of my foot
five.
finger.
Lift your foot, woman. Cool.
High five. So on the next episode, we've got 2 incredible guests coming on.
Yes, we're
We've
very
got
excited for them.
Stuart and Francis coming on. They are 2 friends of ours, and they have 2 babies
My goodness.
from surrogacy, which is pretty cool. Surrogacy?
Yeah. They have 2 surrogates, yeah.
which
It's going to be
is pretty
crazy.
cool.
We're going to chat to them
And-
about their lives as 2 dads as well. It's going to be interesting.
And then we have a DJ who
Oh.
also has a famous father, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
she does.
I'm very excited to have her on as well with her friend, and they're going into business together. And she's got an incredible printing company. She's going to help me create my books, my journals.
Oh my
She's
God.
called
But
Leah.
more to be discussed in the future. Thank you so much for watching, listening.
So stay locked on because we've got some incredible guests coming on the podcast and we cannot wait to bring you more and more episodes.
Do you say stay locked in or do you say locked on?
I don't care, Barney.
What's locked on?
Stay locked on.
Stay locked on?
Or what would you say?
Locked in?
Have you got a Shhh Don't Tell My moment where
No,
I
I
can walk
don't.
out? I mean, there's not been, we've
Because
been
I've been
together.
dealing with your fingernail for the past 2 weeks. And so I haven't been able to talk to my son.
Fingernail. Honestly,
Soz,
it's never going to get better.
Other than pictures of birds that he gives me that look like he's wiped his bum on a piece of paper,
He literally
I don't
does.
have much, really.
Yeah.
He's still great, still fun, still
You
loves
know,
a chat.
the funniest moment of that section was like, he has a piece of paper and on the back, it says Rocket's bird. And me and him are standing there trying to work out what this thing is for the first.
And on the back it said what it was
and
the
it
whole
said
time.
Rocket's bird on the back. Very observing.
Anyway,
of
that's
us.
probably going in the bin because it looks like he's wiped his ass on a piece of paper.
Anyway,
Is it
love
going
you
in the bin?
guys. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, listening to the podcast.
Really appreciate it and we'll see you very soon.
Mwah.
Don't tell mom! Shh, don't tell mom.